Good morning, ladies. I am Karen Ray. This is Fave Lifestyles, and this is our morning coffee chat. I'm here with Claudia and Lucia, and we are going to be talking about your dream Italian vacation. So I would love to know who out there has Italy on their bucket list or their dream list, and where would you like to go? So, ladies, we're going to be chatting all about what that dream vacation can look like. And Claudia Alfieri has been in the travel industry for, oh my goodness, and I wish I had my notes up so I could tell you.
You won't tell them how long, because
I'll just do a quick little intro, and then we'll pop over to both of you ladies. She's been in the travel industry for 34 years, traveling to Italy for 25, and creating all of your dream vacations. And her company is Dream Italian Villas and Tours. And Lucia is coming to us from Italy today, and so glad that you are here. And she has a company in southern Tuscany called Tuscany Slow Travel. And so we're going to hear about all the experiences that you can have. And the ladies are going to tell us about how to build that perfect dream Italian vacation. So Claudia, we'll start with you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thanks for having us. It's nice to be here. First and foremost, I just want to say that Lucia and I have been in cahoots since 2015. And
I like that, in cahoots. It sounds like it's been some fun.
It is, and she's a dream to work with. I work in all sorts of regions in Italy, but Lucia, she's the best. And I'm not saying that just because she's listening and looking at me. But I think we want to share today is our all-inclusive program. You certainly could do Italy many ways. You can just do almost anything you'd like to do, and how many days you want to spend where and what. But this idea of an all-inclusive started back in 2015, and it allows people to have 7 nights in one region, and then they can add pre and post and go to the landmark cities of their choice. Yeah. The problem with the challenge with Americans is we think we have to get 10 cities in and go city to city, 2 days here, 2 days there, so on and so forth. So slow travel is born from slow food, which is a movement I think started in the 1980s in Italy. But the point of all of this is to give you an immersive experience. We hear a lot about the word, meeting the locals, off the beaten path, if you will. And it's not just buzzwords, it's real when you come travel with us. So yeah. What's that?
Yeah, let's pause for just a second before we get really into the meat of the travel. Let's pop over to Lucia and let her have a moment to say hello to the ladies and just say a little bit about what she brings to the table too. So Lucia, go ahead and just say hello.
Hello, everybody. Good morning to you, and good evening to me because I'm a little further west. So it's evening for me. And the kinds of things that I search for are, places or people that you can meet that I can share with you. So for example, just today I was in Siena and I was visiting an artist and a ceramist. And so the idea is to meet people who are doing things that can be of interest to people who are coming and visiting, because by connecting the visitors, the people who come and want to experience the area that they're visiting, and the people who actually work here, you're getting a different sense of place than you would if you simply go to Siena, visit, do some window shopping, go in a few shops, maybe do a guided tour. I mean, people will do guided tours, obviously, they're interested in history, but there's all sorts of levels that you can experience. So by adding different experience to your classic guided tour, you just get a better understanding of the place that you're visiting, basically. So yes, that's an example, a real example of what I was doing today. Just meeting people. Add to the list for Claudia's next tours. Claudia, I will tell you more about it later.
Yeah, excellent. So let's paint a picture for the ladies. So we're going to be talking about this all-exclusive, personal adventure, if you will, or experience, and meeting, and you can have all these different things. So let's take the ladies. So let's take an example like, okay, maybe I have had Italy on my bucket list for a long time, and I want to go with a group of friends. Maybe it's a group of girls, maybe it's some other couples that are going to, we've come together and we're like, oh yes, I've heard about villas, and what would that experience be like? So Claudia, take us through kind of what the experience would be like as we start coming to you with our dream of going to Italy.
Well, first of all, it's going to be a lot easier for you because you have someone like me to do it for you.
Yeah.
This was all born out of me going and doing a villa for my 50th birthday. And there's always like one person who ends up sort of being the one who has to organize and get everybody together. And it truly felt like herding cats. And so what really became this focus for me was to give somebody an experience that doesn't have to go through the stress of that. They can tell me what their friends are interested in, and then we take care of all the details and make it seamless. So you're actually on vacation instead of coming home and feeling like you now need a vacation. But a typical itinerary and experience would start with asking most people to fly into Rome. And certainly people can do a pre and be somewhere else. They don't have to come into Rome, but as they say, all roads lead to Rome. The villas that we use in the part of Tuscany that I love so much, and where Lucia is considered Southeast Tuscany.
Okay.
So the villa that we would take you to is halfway between Rome and halfway between Florence. And we always ask that you come in at least one night prior. We arrange for a vans or a minibus. We can do usually 10 to 16 people. So the next morning, after you've caught up on your sleep, we leave at around 11 o'clock. We stop in a little town called Orvieto. What's lovely about this region is it borders Lazio, which is where Rome is, and the region of Umbria. And then there's Tuscany. You're sort of down in that southeast corner. So you're actually getting a chance to be in three regions. But the introduction to the countryside in Orvieto is laid back. It's a lovely historic little town. People can shop, people can tour. Most people are just sort of taking it all in and enjoying lunch. And I always tell them where the best pizza is and the best leather store, because the girls always want to shop. So we spend about 3.5 hours there, and then the driver will stay with you. I mean, the bus is there, or the vans. And then we take you to the villa and we check in around 5:30 in the afternoon. That's really when the magic begins. And I've done this many times. Not always am I with groups, because like if you organize your friends, we have an incentive to bring groups together. Yeah. But what's the best part, not the best part, but one of the things I love the most is when people arrive at the villa, there's just this look on their face and they are like enamored. It's rustic, but contemporary at the same time. But it just takes your breath away to see the scenery outside the windows, see the property. The gal who designs these homes that I use, she's internationally renowned. It's very comfortable. The gals are already there cooking. They're greeting you. You're having an aperitivo. We're having appetizers. People are just like, oh my God, this is really where we're going to be for the next week. When I did mine, we got in late in the afternoon, and my birthday's February, so it was already getting dark. And it wasn't until the next morning, and we had dinner prepared for us. But opening the shutters and looking out, it really was take your breath away, because it looked like you were really looking at a postcard. It's as beautiful, as beautiful as the pictures you see. Oh. But what we really strive to do is to make it all inclusive. Everything's taken care of. Nobody has to make decisions. Nobody has to decide what kind of wine we're having. We change that out every night for you. And the centerpiece of every evening is really these gals cooking for you. You're sitting down having dinner. You're all at one long table. We just find that it becomes a personal relationship with the people who are taking care of you. So
Okay, so that is really important to be able to be interacting with the people who live there. And I think that's one of the experiences that so many people are craving, because a lot of us at our age have done some traveling. And so we really want to experience what it would be like to live there, to meet the people. So let's pop over to Lucia just for a second and give her a chance to tell us a little bit about what do they experience once they're there. And then Claudia will pop back over to you to kind of finish what their experience is like with you as well. So, and also we have some ladies watching. Hello, ladies. And we've got some cute little comments here. It says, hi, Claudia and Lucia and Karen. And I can't wait for my trip with Claudia that Claudia created. And she says, you are so experienced and take care of everything. So it's fun to see who's the ladies popping on, commenting here too. So Lucia, so what kind of things are they going to experience during the day when they're out and about? Tell us some of the things that they get to do.
Well, some of the things that we do on one of the tours I organize with Claudia, for example, oil tasting. That means we go to a family-run farm where they produce oil. So you're in a family environment, you're visiting their farm, then you go and taste the oil together with a home-cooked meal. So you're meeting the family, the grandmother who cooks for you, and that's a very personal experience. Then, for example, we did festivals. So when possible, I always try to insert a festival on the Sunday that you arrive. So Saturday is your day of arrival. And then on Sunday, depending on the time of the year, there can be festivals. Now in the fall, for example, there are more festivals than there are in summertime. And one of the things that we can do is actually participate in the festival where the inhabitants are the ones who are cooking and preparing the meal for all the people who come. So it's a very different experience to what you would have, at other times of the year, because so that's one of the things that people really enjoy. And oftentimes it's held outdoors in a piazza, or depending on what the weather is like, it could be even in, they open up these, I guess you would call them caves. Claudia, what would you call them? The cantine. They're like cellars,
The cellars. They're like cellars. It's one of the highest rated. Well, everybody loves the whole week because every day it's a surprise and delight. But the festivals in particular are really highly rated because the locals are actually cooking for you. And a lot of the kids are donating their time. And so you have families and teenagers and young adults waiting on you. And it's just, it's like no other experience. I mean, it's not a festival like we think of, Seattle, whatever the bite of Seattle, and you wander around the different booths like that. You are really immersed with the locals who spent how many days cooking these meals, and it's just lovely. And Italy's funny in this way, not funny, but you guys have festivals for everything. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. All the things you celebrate: the artichoke festival, the truffle festival, the mushroom festival. There's just, it goes on and on.
And
go ahead.
Oh, good. It sounds like so too that you are participating in whatever season it is. That's what you get to experience with the locals.
Yeah, and they're made for local. What the difference is? They're not. A lot of them are really just for the locals, meaning they're not something that is aimed at tourists who are coming from elsewhere. At least not where I live. I mean, in some parts of Tuscany, obviously, depending probably if you're closer to Florence but where I'm based. I mean, Claudia, when you've been to the oil festival and
and the chestnut festival.
It was us. It was also end of October, early November. So that's the time of the year when there's less tourists, inevitably. But I think that's what
he's saying is that really it's a festival for the locals. This is not being advertised, so you probably maybe wouldn't even know it's happening. But the other thing Lucia and I like to do, as much as everybody has in their brain and head, that they have to be in Tuscany or Italy in the summer, it's like, don't go. Don't go in the summer. I mean, if you're going to stay in a villa and just kick back with your friends, but if you really want to get out and experience things, please come in the spring and fall. If you have
spring
to come in
too is beautiful.
spring is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Summer,
spring is-
I understand when there's kids. I was a mother who always took my kids out of school because, in my opinion, they're going to learn something that they wouldn't learn reading it. But, and not to say don't come in summer, but we love the spring and fall in Tuscany and all over Italy.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Yes.
the
So
festivals
Claudia,
are great.
yeah. So I wanted to ask you a little bit because we've had a chance to chat a little bit about this too. And I love those words that you said, surprise and delight. And one of the things that you had mentioned before is that, you know, they're out all day with these beautiful, going to the festivals, going to eat, doing all these things during the day. And then when they come back in the evening, tell us what that is like and why it's important. And you have expressed that that is really one of the delights too of the trip is when they have been busy all day and they come back, and what are they going to experience in the evening?
Okay. Well, I'm going to just try and segue for a quick second. We never try and make anybody leave and be up and ready before 9:30. There's people who are early risers and they want to be up early, but where Lucia comes to the villa to take whisk you away, and we have breakfast waiting for you, and then you're out the door. So we're usually back, and you always have lunch, and you always have wine with any of these experiences. But when you come back, it's usually, I'll say on average, 4:30. Could be 4, could be 3:30, it could be 5. So people come back. Some people want to go walk up on the hillside and get some exercise or be alone or go to their rooms. The villa is large enough that you can have private time. But usually people just want to be with each other because they're friends and family, so they want to hang out. Some people might go to their room and take a little quick nap, but we'll put out antipasti and have the bar set up and wine set up usually by 5:30. I have a group right now, and he's like, when we walk in the door, they're going in May, we would like the bar already waiting for us. Now, keep in mind, they've already had their wine at lunch, and you know, you're on vacation. So, you know, it's what you want for your vacation. But typically 5:30 to 6:30, we do antipasti. And depending on the time of year, you're inside, you're outside, you're both places, because you have this expansive space outdoors and you want to take advantage of the views. By 6:30 usually, or by 6:30 to 7:30, then at 7:30, we start dinner. And dinner just becomes an event unto itself. And everybody's sitting there. I always encourage people to move around as the week goes on because people end up sitting next to the same people. And, you know, it's again what people prefer to do, but it's nice to get people moving around. But the kitchen is right there. So while you're having your aperitivo, you can wander in, see them cooking. It's just the smell of the homemade food. The smell alone as you walk in, and Carmela and Antonella are cooking for you. The table's set. It's beautifully set every night. The centerpiece changes. And then there's dinner. And that goes on till about 9:30. You linger. It's whatever you want to do and how long you want to be there. But from there, then people start to get up and they move back into the living room. And then the socialization continues. There's people who will excuse themselves and go off to their rooms by 10:30. And then there's the people like myself who, you know, just want to keep the night going. And it's your home for the week. So, I mean, nobody ever really gets in their jammies and comes downstairs, or they'll change usually for dinner. But it's very casual. It's whatever you can wear to dinner. But then you go to bed, your room's been tidied up because we include maid service and your tips, and then you just get up and even though you've looked at the itinerary and we've talked about it, nobody remembers. This is what I laugh at. I guess I'd be the same, but nobody remembers where they're going and what they're doing because they just know they're there and they're going to be taken care of. And so Lucia is really sweet because when I'm not there, we put a daily program out by the cocktail bar, so you can be reminded where you're leaving and where you'll be the next day. And then it's like Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. That's how people feel. Getting up and Lucia coming back to meet them, to take them on another adventure.
Yeah, let's pop back over to Lucia. So they've gotten up. So let's say it's a day that you're going to be going to maybe some kind of cooking experience. What would that be like?
So the cooking experience is actually held at the villa. So that would be held. That's oftentimes, usually we hold it on people's day off because during the week we have one day at the villa. So people can really enjoy the villa.
Okay.
And the cooking class is part of that day. So that would be held with the ladies who cook dinner for you every night so that you get a chance to actually cook with them. You've been watching them every night, and now on usually it's a Wednesday midweek or depending on what the itinerary is. But so that would be held there. Otherwise, we try to mix and balance some smaller towns with maybe a larger town. For example, we could spend a day in Siena and then spend a day in a town like Pienza, which is much, much smaller. And then we can do a cheese tasting combination, go on a farm with a beautiful view of the valley, just right next to Pienza. So, you get a visit to the town and then you'll go and have lunch somewhere else. Or you go to Montepulciano and visit the historical wine cellars. Montepulciano has this very, it's very particular because the wine cellars are in the historical part of Montepulciano. While, for example, they also have wineries out in the countryside, of course, but Montalcino has mostly wineries outside in the countryside. They don't have the historical wineries in the historical center. So there are two different experiences. You get to
explain about the historic wine cellar, Lucia, because I explained the historical wine cellar.
Wine cellar is that Montepulciano has these incredible wine cellars that go underground. So you are in town and then you start going down, 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 and have these huge barrels that are kept underground. And so the perfect environment for winemaking, because of course it ages very, very well. Nowadays, a lot of the companies have the actual wine. Let's say they press the grapes elsewhere and then bring the wine to be aged in the historical. Before, they used to actually do it all in the historical wine cellars. It's not as convenient. So they now choose to do the processing of the grapes outside in the countryside and then the actual aging. And you can do that too when it's harvest time in September, October, for example. When we go visit wineries, you get a chance oftentimes to see what's going on because the grapes are coming in, they're being crushed. So, when, for example, a group that Claudia had, 2 years ago, they came at a time when the olive harvest was on. So they got to see that whole process of the olive oil making, so it really depends on when you're coming. And another thing, for example, you can combine with wine in Montalcino saffron because they also have saffron production in Montalcino and in San Quirico d'Orcia, which is close to Montalcino. So that's something a little more unusual because everybody thinks of wine when they think of Tuscany. Yeah. But, you can also get a better understanding of how saffron is grown and produced. So there's always something new that you can learn. Even if you've been to Tuscany before, you can always learn something new because, there's bound to be something that you've not experienced.
Yes.
And also she's always out looking, and like in the off season, just like yesterday, today, she's always searching for new experiences. If we have time, can you, because if it's a ladies group, I think the ceramic, the gal who is a sommelier, but also does ceramics, and you can make a trit or a coaster. Can you tell them about that?
So that's a new activity that I'm working on for this summer. That is going to a ceramist who she's born in, her father's family comes from this very small hamlet, and she still has a home there. So she decided to restore what was, I guess, a cellar at one point, before it became her studio. So now she's transformed it, and she's going to be holding classes there. And so that's going to be one of the new activities for 2024, because she's been doing ceramics for a very long time, but she did it herself. But now she wants to share, because she really loves it and wants to share her knowledge of ceramics. So she said this is what she wants to do now. She doesn't just want to paint, she wants to teach people how to paint. So I tried it out in December with a friend, and I sent Claudia pictures of our works of art.
It's not like our studios at home where you go in and they give you a vase to paint or a bowl. Each region has its own distinct look, but but anyway. Anybody
So also
who's
the decorations.
an art activity, I'm excited to send people.
Yeah, because the decorations that she makes are tied to the school of Deruta. Deruta is a town in Umbria, which has a very specific style. So even if you've done ceramics back home, if you come here, you'd be learning a completely new style, which is obviously historical, tied to the history of Deruta. So you're getting also the historical aspect of the painting and how it was done and the colors that are used, and also the setting. The setting is incredible because it's in this little hamlet.
That sounds so sweet. And so, Lucia, I think one of the things that really is capturing my attention too is not just that it's an activity or you're learning something. It's the story behind that family that's been doing it for generations and generations. And you get to kind of come be a part of their story, if you will, and how that is done. And, you know, just imagine the grandfathers there and all these different people and really kind of stepping into that culture. And with the art too, it's not, like you said, not just creating something. You're using the colors of that region and their techniques and their designs. And so it's this really rich experience. And that just sounds so wonderful. So let's just recap, because we're coming to the end of our time here. But just for these people, it just sounds like me that it's so personalized that they get to help create what kind of experience they want. And to come to a villa that's out in the country where you're a little bit away from the towns or the cities, and be able to experience what that would be like to live there if you lived in the villa. You know?
You have to be retired, because otherwise you'd be working, and your level of leisure activity would be, you know, in the evenings and weekends. So we want to just be retired and enjoying the villa. I mean, I'm joking, but you know.
Or very wealthy, you know.
Very wealthy.
Yeah, exactly. But you just get to sit and enjoy it. And so, and I love that surprise and delight. I'm just going to hang on to those words, because and when you said when you open the blinds or the shutters and looking out, and it looks like that postcard that you have seen. I mean,
it was 7. It's actually going to be 18 years. That's how old I'm going to be. 68. It was 2006. I still can remember that morning. You know, waking up, and we're opening up the shutters. They're on the inside of this house, and just that look, the view, and thinking, oh my God. But one last thing, because I know we have to wrap up. And you mentioned the conversations, and I think that's really what Lucia brings to this whole experience is, and she said this best a long time ago, Claudia, we're not really offering tours. We're offering opportunities for conversations to really learn about the people and the traditions and the histories and the generations and what they're carrying on into the future. And I think it's just,
I love that.
Yeah.
That alone, if we could have conversations, and that's what I desire. I want to meet the people. I want to learn about their family and who they are, and ask them questions and build a relationship with some people who are in another country. I think that opening up those conversations is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So Lucia, what would you like to leave the ladies with here?
Well, that I will continue searching for people so that they may converse with them, and I will help them. I will help with the conversation, because obviously there can be a language barrier, but that's where I come in, you know, and make sure that the language barrier is overcome. And definitely, yes, I'm on this. Actually, next week, just so that you know, Claudia, I'm going to Perugia to meet 3 other artisans, and then I'm going to go to Arezzo to check out some chocolate, small chocolate production, which I think everybody likes chocolate. So,
I think everybody likes chocolate.
3 artisans in Perugia next week, and chocolate in Arezzo. So that's my next mission. So I'm always on a mission. I'm always on a quest. And Claudia knows this. He gets text messages from me all the time, like, this is what I've seen. This is the person I've spoken to. And it's confusing.
And her family's always saying you talk to everybody. Like, you can't go anywhere that Lucia isn't, you know, because she's very curious. And her curiosity brings the experience. It's all wrapped up together. I want to say about Lucia for a minute, the other thing we always hear is these relationships she has with the people. I mean, I have many relationships because of the years of coming over there, but her relationships, it's very different to have a tour guide who comes through Siena, does the Rome tour, and you continue to other regions. These are all personal relationships she has, and that really does shine through as you're meeting them. And I think what we'd like to do, we do food and wine, but we always want to throw a little bit of art in, and not a museum art, but like what we've mentioned. And again, depends on the individuals and what they want to do. I'd love to do a week where we're doing watercolors with food and wine, even if you don't know how to paint.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that it's just, we could just keep sending you every year, actually, if people have the time and money.
Yeah. Well, this was wonderful. Thank you for taking us along on the experience. And it would be interesting too, what kind of experience that the ladies out there would like to have. Is it that one of surprise and delight, or, those conversations and meeting people, or maybe a combination of it all. So we'd love to hear that. And Lucia, thank you for coming all the way from Italy today. I know it's getting late there for you. And Claudia, thank you for taking us along on this experience. And I just want to say, I hope that the ladies can come and create their dream vacation with you in Italy.
I wanted just to add, we can do these kind of groups for as few as 6 people.
Okay.
I mean, it's just more affordable when 6 people are sharing the driver. I mean, I do 2 people doing things, but 6 is a great little number if you're not trying to bring a lot of people with you.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you can grab
we
a couple of friends.
had it this summer. We had our little group of 6 this summer, and it stayed 2 weeks. So I mean, that was they stayed 2 weeks, a group of 6, and it was a great experience. So
lovely.
Great for them and for me too. I enjoyed their company. So.
Yes, and how wonderful to have Claudia here doing the talking with you, helping you arrange it, and Lucia to be there right in Italy, right alongside you, and to help you along. So, ladies, thank you for joining us today, and everyone out there, have a great day. Bye now.
Thank you.